Tonight, firefighters are taking advantage of a break in high winds to get the devastating wildfires in Southern California under control. Residents are now being allowed to return to some of the hardest hit areas, and the challenges facing the Los Angeles area are becoming clear. Our own Morgan Chesky has the latest.
Tonight, a new danger emerging across a fire-stricken city. This Palisades home split in half after officials say a water leak caused a scorched hillside to give way. No one was hurt, but the still smoldering scene piling on anxiety ahead of any future rain.
If you were in a fire evacuation zone, is there a likely chance you'll be evacuated come rainy season from mudslides?
There is a very likely chance. We're going to have to tell homeowners to remain alert.
Teams still facing 36 square miles of door-to-door inspections before more than 80,000 evacuated residents can safely return to their neighborhoods.
They're shutting off the natural gas. They're cutting the electrical lines, so there's nothing that you can touch and get electrocuted if it was re-energized by accident.
Los Angeles water and power crews testing hydrants to find the source of that ongoing water leak. The department now the target of a civil lawsuit over a reservoir that was offline for maintenance. Some Palisades fire victims alleging a 117 million gallon water storage complex was empty, leaving fire crews little to no water to fight the Palisades fire. Dan Grigsby lost his home of 37 years.
What do you hope to accomplish with this lawsuit?
Accountability, I would say, and make sure it absolutely never happens again.
LA's water system already under investigation after crews reported shortages on both the Palisades and Eaton fires.
Out of every fire hydrant you've seen, what have you found?
Right now, we're finding most of them are down or low pressure.
If you had a hydrant for this building,
If we had a hydrant for this building, we might have been able to save the back house.
Last year, Martin Adams retired from leading Los Angeles Water and Power.
what would you tell those homeowners who saw that water go dry in a time of need?
The one thing that is important is to understand up front is that there's no water system in the world that could provide the kind of water demand that was required in this fire.
Former FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate joins me now. Craig, as you've been watching all of this unfold over the last week, what's been on your mind?
That a lot of this was something that people had been concerned about. A lot of people that have looked at wildfires were concerned that we were still seeing people building in these high fire risk areas. And so that with the conditions that we saw last week and continuing this week, many people were concerned in the wildfire space that if a fire got going, it would be catastrophic.
Early estimates are saying this is going to cost tens of billions of dollars. Where do they even start, right? Is there not going to be a labor shortage, a supply shortage, just a manpower in terms of all the things that they need to do?
Well, it's going to be complex, and this is why you got to take this and get through the initial response, get these fires contained and under control, begin the assessment. One of the things that will be a big question was how many people had insurance, and we knew that a lot of people were either being dropped or had been dropped by their insurance, and that's going to compound the cost of rebuilding. And then you start looking at the steps it's going to take to rebuild. And as you point out, where do people stay right now? We're already seeing reports of rental rates skyrocketing, in some cases gouging, officials taking action on that. But just housing the population, and then look at how many workers are going to be needed to begin rebuilding. And this is going to be a multiple years to rebuild these communities. And so just starting with the basics of where are people going to stay? What temporary housing looks like? Where are the workers going to come from? Where are the materials going to come from? And how quickly can you start rebuilding? And then most importantly, when we rebuild, don't build it back the way it was. It burned down. We need to incorporate a lot of things we've learned about wildfire mitigation, how to build homes that are more flame resistant, that are more protected in these areas. Because again, these are areas that as the vegetation comes back, will be prone to wildfires in the future.
Then to that point, how do we start to figure out, should people be building homes in these areas? Obviously, this is one of the most beautiful places in the United States of America, but dangerous and prone to these type of disasters.
Well, I think it goes back to the idea that if we're going to build in these environments, we have to build for them. There's a tendency, I think, we discount the risk of the hazards when we're building. And the lessons we should learn is, yes, if we're going to build in these areas, we need to build homes that have flame-resistant outer materials, roofs that are designed not to be, easily set on fire by embers, windows and doors, soffits and other things to keep the embers from getting into the house, and landscaping requirements to keep vegetation away from the house itself and provide a defensible space. So if a fire does start, it gives an area that firefighters are able to safely operate in versus being in an area that is so congested, so much vegetation, and roads in many cases that are hard to navigate, that it gets dangerous. And that's why when these winds were blowing and the fires were moving so fast, in many cases, the firefighters couldn't even get to they had to basically evacuate and work those areas they could safely operate in.
How concerned are you about the air quality for people returning to the hard-hit areas and the firefighters that have been there in this, so up close for the last week? I just think back to 9/11 and all the health issues that followed for people who were down there.
Well, this is something that I know the U.S. Fire Administration has looked at, is particularly for wildland firefighters who normally don't wear protective breathing apparatus, the dangers there. But those are generally focused on the wildland burning, not the structures. And so we know that from the standpoint of the structures, a lot of hazardous materials being produced. That will be something to be looked at. The other thing is going to be a lot of this debris from these homes that have been burnt. They're going to be requiring special care because, again, once the fires are out, there's still a lot of material, and the winds pick up, you're going to get dust flying. So there's a lot of steps you got to go through. But one of the things we'll be looking at these studies and starting to understand better how fighting fires in that environment affects firefighters. And again, generally, if you're going in the home, you're wearing protective apparatus, you're wearing breathing apparatus. But outside the home, as you saw, it wasn't practical for many of those firefighters to wear breathing apparatus.
How worried are you that aid could end up conditional? It could end up being politicized, which obviously a natural disaster should not be politicized, but welcome to 2025.
Well, I remember Superstorm Sandy and the politics behind getting the money for that. And I've watched Congress for a long time, and one thing I've observed, it's a painful process sometimes. The rhetoric gets very strong, but at the end of the day, the American people take care of the American people, and Congress has a job to do.
Well, let's hope they do it. Craig, thank you so much for all the work you have done, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.